Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is video update number 1 for the fully motorized Mark III Ironman suit from Walsh 3D. Now, I've been printing this on the Bamboo Lab P1S along with the Orca slicer, but let's get to the good stuff. I can't believe it, but in just 1 week, I have printed and fully motorized the helmet for the Mark III. I want to let you guys know that where this is an update video, I won't be going into full detail on every aspect of the helmet, as these videos are more to update you guys on the overall progress of the suit up to its completion, which will hopefully be before August. If you guys want a more detailed video on the coating, the setup of the motorization pieces, or just getting it all to function properly, please let me know down in the comments and I will be happy to make a video for you guys. Now, that does not mean that this video is going to have no details whatsoever, but I'm only going to be going over some major things that I wish I had known beforehand to make the whole process go much smoother. Things like the coating and the wiring definitely deserve their own video where I can go into detail and really explain the whole process of making it function properly. But putting it into a video like this would have pushed it into 30 minutes or maybe even an hour. So as far as printing goes, as you can see with the time lapses here, I finally got the time lapses to download and upload properly. So we've got time lapses. The way I have a few things oriented are mostly to save on filament. Print them in whatever way is best for you. If you want more supports to really make sure everything stays put and comes out smooth, that's totally fine. I convinced myself that I'd be able to polish everything up from where it was sitting on the bed. Luckily, Walsh 3D did a fantastic job with these files and lets you know everything that you'll need beforehand, and it all printed well enough that everything was able to attach to their corresponding spots very easily and smoothly. Now, if you do have any issues with the motorization parts and their attachment points, just try smoothing things down or heating things up to either open up those holes or shrink down those attachment points just a little bit. You want everything to move pretty smoothly. If you have a whole lot of extra pressure and drag on those points, your helmet might not open and close properly. For me, coating was definitely the easiest part of the entire helmet here. Basically, all it took was hitting one download button for the code and uploading the code onto the Arduino Nano using a specific software. And all of that is lined out on the Crashworks GitHub as well. But that definitely deserves its own video, so that's all I'm really going to say as of right now. So when it comes to the wiring, it might look like it's a bit of a mess at the moment, but it's pretty well organized for me. Ultimately, I know exactly what each wire corresponds to and where they're connected to on the board here. I wanted everything pretty localized to the helmet for now, but once I get the rest of the suit, I am planning on extending some wires for the button activators in my fingers, but that's for a later time. Ultimately, with the coating, the motorization, and the wiring all done, you should end up with a system that, when plugged into power here, it should start by closing the faceplate and the eyes will flicker on. And then with one button press, the faceplate will open and close, and the eyes will come back on. And then if I double press, they'll turn off. If I double press again, they'll turn on. And then if I hold the button, they'll slowly fade until they're off. And then this is useful, so if I'm in any kind of situation where there's lower light, I'll still be able to see and the eyes won't be too bright for me. Now, one very important thing that I wish I had known was using the servo horn version of the servo arm. This is the section that attaches directly to the servo. So right here, this little arm that attaches to the servo and goes up to the faceplate. Having attempted to reprint the geared version of that arm multiple times, I would strongly recommend using the version that incorporates the servo horn into it. The horns that should come with your servo, they look just like this. And on the inside there, they have tiny little teeth that stay connected to the gears on the servo much better. And they fit right into those servo horn versions of the servo arm. And once you put it all together, you can just fuse them together to make one solid arm that isn't going to break or come apart. Also, there is a part of the helmet that will require some fusing or gluing, but it needs to allow movement just like the rest of the motorized parts. And that is this little hinge right here. Without it, the jaw of the helmet would not be able to do this cool little thing where it rotates out and rotates back in. It would just get pushed out, and then, not to mention when you close it, it probably wouldn't line up correctly where it needs to. So the circular section right here needs to go into this hole on the jaw, but that needs to stay unglued or unfused. That part needs to allow movement. The part that needs to be fused or glued is this section right here to the whole dome of the helmet. I recommend fusing. It seems to be the best way to make the part one with the helmet that won't let it snap off or break, especially where it's going to be put under pressure pretty consistently whenever this opens or closes. I recommend fusing just because it's stronger ultimately. And lastly, one of the simplest parts of the helmet was putting in the 7x10mm magnets. Some of these I was just able to push in and they still haven't wanted to come out at all. On others, I did have to glue them in with just some wood glue, especially on the dome here. These little sockets were not quite deep enough, so I did have to glue those in, but that's an easy fix. Also, you might have noticed that I didn't really talk about any scaling for this helmet, and that's because I printed everything at 100% scale and didn't have to worry about anything. Now, I did make sure that it was going to fit before I put anything on. There is a Thingiverse file that details how to measure, as well as actually having some 3D models to bring into a slicer to make sure everything fits. I'll put a link to that down in the description below. I have used that twice now for the Mark III helmet and then the Spider-Man 2099 helmet back here, and each time they fit perfectly. And that one I did have to scale down a little bit, but the Mark III I just printed at 100% scale, and again, it fits perfect. And that is everything today for the Mark III suit. With these files, there are a lot of different options for each section of the suit, ones that give details or no details, motorization versus no motorization. Ultimately, that is up to you to decide. I didn't worry about any inner details for the helmet. No one's going to be looking inside the mask except for me, but that might be something that you want to do, and that is totally fine. And with that, the helmet is done for now. So that means I've moved on to the hands. As of right now, I only have the right hand done, and I'll share more about the hands in the next update. The coolest part about these hands so far are these little hinged fingers that are straight from printing. I used the hinged version of these fingers, and they move pretty naturally with my fingers. About the only problem I'm having is I need a way to keep them connected to the glove here, because they do want to fall off pretty easily, but that's for the next video. Also, I printed these at 100% scale too. I didn't have to worry about anything being too big or too small. This glove won't come off unless I take off all this tape. I am planning on some kind of method that lets them flex open and snap shut. I wanted them to be pretty tight to my hand here. I didn't want it to just be able to slip in and out very easily. So that means I'm gonna have to put some kind of elastic or something like that on the inside to let that flex open, and it's okay once I pieced it back together, but it's good. Anyways, with the fingers off now, I am hoping the scaling pattern stays pretty consistent. It would be nice to just print everything at 100% scale and not have to worry about it. I do know that I am not 6 foot tall. So I'm going to have to scale the legs. I know that, but that is for a much later time. We'll see about how I have to scale the chest. I'm hoping that works out perfectly, but again, that's for the next video. So if you liked the video and you would like to see me complete the suit in the next couple of months, make sure to give this video a like. I've been making sure to respond and answer questions as best as I possibly can. So make sure to comment down below with any questions you have or anything else you want to share. And if you want to keep joining me with this awesome project, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.